Once upon a time, there was a me. I'm a bit of a greenie, really, and one day I found my eco-soulmate. We got married, and our friend said, "What do you want? What can we buy you?" "Nothing," we replied. "Ah, come on, there's got to be something you need." "All right," we said, "plant us a wedding forest." I got in touch with my friend Rue Hartwell, who'd been planting trees all over the planet for years, and he said, "No worries, consider it done." He planted us a beautiful forest in Bore in Kenya, quite near the equator, and we kept an eye on it, and it did amazingly well. Well, it would. It's near the equator, it grows super quickly. In fact, each tree locks down about 1/4 of a ton of CO2 and other pollutants in a tiny handful of years. One day, a couple of years later, I decided I wanted to set up a writing contest, and I wanted to plant a tree for every entry. I thought a sensible place to do it would be next door to the wedding forest. I called it the word forest. Obviously, you can see why. I also wanted to build some classrooms at Kundeni Primary School because the kids there had done such a great job of looking after the trees in our forest. Rue asked me, I remember now so clearly, he said, "Do you think it's going to do any good? Do you think anyone's going to enter?" "I've got absolutely no idea, but I'll give it my best shot," I said. The Magic Oxygen Literary Prize was born in 2014, and in 3 small years, 10,000 trees and actually 5 classrooms later, I decided our work needed to be formalised as a charity so that we could replicate the work that we'd done there throughout Kenya. The villagers are lifting themselves out of poverty from the commodities from the trees. So they get water purifiers from the moringa seeds, they've got cashews to eat, the casuarina make great building poles, and there's medicine from the neem tree. And then there's the school. The enrolment at Kundeni Primary has gone from 300 to 590 kids. Education's everything over there, and the kids are so poor but so happy that people on the other side of the planet are actually investing in their future. The rich kids have got flip-flops, which says a lot, and most of them sleep under the stars on the school compound because it's actually just too far to walk home, and they're more likely to be fed. On the 7th of April 2017, the Word Forest organisation was born, and with a fabulous team of trustees beside me, I stepped out as the CEO and fundraiser. On Friday, the 2nd of February 2017, the President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, declared that the country was having a national disaster, and he called for aid to counter the drought that had been gripping his country for many years. Kenya's Red Cross added that some 2.7 million people were in dire need of food aid after the virtually non-existent rainfall. The World Food Programme said it was short of the $22 million it needed to provide food for many, including school meals for 428,000 Kenyan children, many of whom depend upon the UN for their only decent meal of the day. You know there's trouble ahead when global events affect the price of your favourite cup of frappalattuccino. The Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics reported that in the first quarter of 2017, the economy had slowed right down to 4.7%. Agriculture had been hit massively, and the debilitating drought was affecting coffee, tea, and maize. The drought was having a massively adverse effect on yields, and the Coffee Research Institute backed it up with a warning, saying it was going to push up prices for the end user. As if that wasn't enough to contend with, add to the mix a recent attack of thrips in central Kenya that is threatening to spread and cause even more chaos. Thrips are small, irritating little insects that love to feed on coffee and other commercial crops. To be honest, I've tried desperately hard to view this devastating occurrence with optimism. I mean, if this is what it takes to alert the general public to the plight of the folks in Kenya who are living at the real sharp end of climate change, it might actually be the kick up the backside required to shift them into taking some climate action. So what is the answer to it all? And can we stop these seemingly inevitable catastrophes coming as a result of climate change? Well, it's reforestation and no, not completely. But we can mitigate the problems. We can slow them down. And while people in suits take time to talk about it, we actually just need to act upon it. Tropical reforestation is what I'm focusing on right now. Serious canopy cover is needed over in Kenya, now more than ever before. And yeah, before you poke me and say, but you said they were in drought, how are they going to grow trees then? Well, with difficulty. But it's the only way. If we plant trees over in Kenya, they will actually help to bring back the normal rains again. Seriously, I know it sounds complicated, but look, here's a tree, a little tree. This is rain and this is evapotranspiration, or the clever process whereby rainwater gets caught on the leaves, the stem and the flowers or roots, and it changes from a liquid back into vapour. Think sweaty trees, if that helps, and you've got useful rain that isn't simply disappearing into arid earth. It's going to go straight back up into the atmosphere and it will turn back into rain. Billions of people suffer the effects of inadequate access to water, and increased extreme heat events are going to make their lives far worse. Unless the world's governments collaborate, ditch their addiction to fossil fuels, move to renewables, and start to work together properly, and please don't say Paris Agreement, I hear you. But there are going to be huge people displacements and mass migrations on unthinkable scales. Humans, flora and fauna all need access to fresh, clean water. It's a fundamental building block of life, and without it, we're scuppered. Abundant, healthy forests dotted all over the planet are vital. They're prerequisites for securing the global water supply that we all need. Big new swathes of cooling forest will also reduce the destructive forces that are driving some people to murderous measures in Kenya as they search for grazing land for their livestock. It's not just ordinary people like you and me that need to get with this programme. We need some big businesses on board too. I read a report recently that showed that there is an optimistic increase from some of the great big corporations who are gradually working towards deforestation-free supply chains. This is something we need to keep an eye on and be aware of when we make our buying decisions. The big four agricultural commodities of palm, soy, timber and pulp and cattle are responsible for over a third of tropical deforestation. Promises of improved behaviour from the big corporations is just fine, but immediate and positive action is much better. I'm actively seeking corporate partners who want to make the world a better place and also up their CSR ratings by giving us some funding to get some new trees in the ground. So there you have it, as dear Barry Norman would have said. The Word Forest organisation is open for business, and I'd be delighted to sign you up as a member or as a corporate partner. Take a look at wordforest.org or drop me a line. Asante Sana.